welcome to the Purposefully Clear podcast. In this podcast, we're going to be telling stories about direct application of tools, processes, systems that lead to validating outputs for students and teachers. Systems change, if you will, through culturally validating pedagogy and leadership. Come along for the clear journey. Excited you're here.
This is the Purposefully Clear podcast. This is number 11, episode 1 of 6, with our guest Billy Chan. The podcast is hosted by Dr. Rev Hillstrom at the Sofio Hotel in San Diego, California on March 1st, 2026.
Man, am I excited to share with you. Freezing cold out here, but the episode that you're going to engage in, and the next 6, if you will, were all filmed in San Diego with a lovely conversation with Tua and Billy while I3 was down there supporting the CAPL conference. You'll learn more about that. Thank you so much for being part of this. Might be freezing here, but hopefully you feel the warmth in our heart. Let's be purposefully clear together. All right, here we go. You ready, Jason? Are we rolling? Right on. All right, let's try it again. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being part of the Purposefully Clear podcast. I'm going to let you both introduce yourselves. Thank you for being here.
Right, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Tua.
Tua?
Thank you, Rev. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm Billy Chan, Instructional Superintendent, Fresno Unified.
Right on. And Billy and I have gone back a long time, almost 20 years probably. Tua, pleasure to have you at the conversation at the table. Others in the room, Jason, and others in the room, we'll let them add their voices if they so choose. We are at the CAPL conference in San Diego, right?
Absolutely.
Talking about making change in education, transformational change, meeting the needs of students. And I'm blessed to be in a room with some experts in their field, leaders in their field, people who have opportunity to provide voice. And I'll provide some of the clear context. As always, we never have a scripted podcast because that's not what it should be. It's human beings sitting down. We had a conversation 10 minutes ago, a half hour ago, over at the Grant. And we started talking, and I shared a little bit about pedagogy, right? Tua, you thought that was interesting because I think you shared a little bit about focus, right? Could you share some of the stuff that came up for you and I?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when I talk about focus, I'm thinking about system alignment and communication clarity. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said clarity, right? I think as a system, we have to be very clear about like what we want from our administrators, so they can be very clear about what their teachers put in front of kids. The metrics need to be clear, the data needs to be clear, and at the very most, very accessible to our teachers and our administrators, so that we can make decisions.
So as we hear Tua and Billy talk, it reminds me of a story that helps us understand something right below the surface. This idea that we simply don't understand each other, thought and language. You've heard me talk about it before, but that leads us to the importance of generating system language. I'll tell you a little story of our family. And so I'm sitting in one of my favorite chairs here when I do that. The story of Boo. If I offer you the word Boo, what do you hear? What comes to your mind? Most of us in a large enough group will have lots of different answers. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe it's a loved one or my boo. Maybe it's sadness. I mean, there's so many options I've heard. In our household, it was a little different. You see, we had a little dog, and she came into our house right at that time, right after we lost another one, right? So the possibility of sadness. She took a really warm place on her. She came in right around Halloween, right? And of course, she came in right there in the peak of Monsters, Inc. And that little dog slept in its first days in a little slipper that looked like Sully's foot, right? So what did the dog's name become? Boo. And Boo became arguably the most endearing part of our family for years. So not only each of us, but to our community as well. I offer you that there's only 3 letters in Boo, and actually there's only 2, right? 2 of them are repeated, but even that seems confusing. My point in this, till we systemize language, Boo has to mean boo. When we say boo, we need to hear each other. We need to understand the depth of it, the meaning of it, the significance of it. In that, we can start moving towards system language. And that's the problem that is just below the surface.
At the very most, very accessible to our teachers and our administrators so that we can make decisions. I know, like Billy brought a point earlier, and he said, you know what, like there are a lot of things that are happening at the department levels. There's a lot of big decisions that are made that are not impacting sites because you have these individuals that are making these big decisions without the input or the experiences of running these sites and seeing the challenges and helping navigate the challenges, right? So when there's these individuals making these decisions, even at the department level, right, and the communication is not clear to sites, it's really hard to keep focus on what the site vision and mission is, and then most importantly, how that aligns to our district's mission and vision, and also goals and guardrails. Right.
The goals and guardrail stuff I love, right? That's something that Billy, as you've afforded us the opportunity as I3 to be involved, was a new idea, and I think it's great, right? Data-driven decision making, really thoughtful, precise goals and these guidelines, right? I appreciate what those look like, but when we're talking about administration making decisions at a site level, and you've got 70,000 children, right? What are some of those challenges? You're at that system level, right? So I hear a principal speak, and I hear a system person. What are some of those challenges? I'm curious. What are some of the things that you face when you hear this? Right?
Yeah. I think part of the challenge, towards point is really the clear communication, because within such a large system like Fresno Unified, it's really hard to keep and maintain that clear line of communication throughout the system as we go from one channel to another. And so some of the important points may get lost in translation. And so I think one of the emphasis that I want to make is we're here at CapelCon, and the theme for this year is around rooted in culture, rise in power, right? And so if I think about that in the context of just my work in supporting principals, how do I rise in power together with principals so that we can, make the impact on student achievement? Well, part of that half is rooted in culture. And so we have to think about the students that we serve in our district and the culture that they bring into the school system. But a lot of times we don't think about that. What we think about is what's the next curriculum adoption that's going to be a viable resource for the district as a whole, without the consideration for how are our students showing up, how do they fit into the curriculum that we're going to adopt. And when we don't take into account some of those elements, then the transformational process doesn't make the impact that it should be. Then we continue to perpetuate what we've been doing for however many years, all the while expecting the change to happen, and yet not getting the clear communication to the leaders at the site that this is what we're going to do, this is how you're going to do it, and this is how we're going to metric your progress. And so when there's that through line that's not very clear, then we don't accomplish the mission that we set out to accomplish, right?
So I'm hearing, I don't know if you both heard yourselves, but if I started counting it, you probably said in the last 10 minutes or so the word clear at least 25 times between the two of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And Jason, when you think about that, right? I mean, you're hearing that, right? And when we think about this, I remember literally in St. Paul, Billy, back in the day when I was being asked to take all my tools and people was like, you could just get clear about this. You could just help us get more clear, right? Well, we laid it out, right? We put it in front of them. And that's what we're talking about, is if we can focus on our culture, our learning, our environment, our achievement, our response, our learning, all these things, these 5 basic components, we can achieve that. But when you talked about culture, right? I think about the word Donadugaha'i for me as a Cherokee man. It means until we meet again. We don't say goodbye.
Right.
Right?
in our culture, we don't say goodbye. We say "Shijirua," "I'll see you later," or "I'll see you again."
Right, and so I see these
Exactly.
right. So, but yet, what do our teachers tell our children every day when they walk out of our buildings?
Yeah. They don't say, I don't think they say "see you tomorrow." They say goodbye.
They say goodbye,
Yeah, they say goodbye.
right? Right, that finality, that termination, right? So even in the way that we send our children away from our schools, we send them away. Welcome rather than delaying until we see them again.
Yeah.
You understand the cognition process that I'm speaking of, that our children are encountering, just even in the way that we allow them to part. It must be the snow and the deep cold that makes me want to tell stories, but I want to address a little bit of the E in the CLEAR model, more from a story form. There's a radical need for students to be able to see themselves as they enter and depart. And you heard Billy and I and Tua talk a little bit about language there at the end, and this idea of sending our students away rather than always welcoming them and always having that space, and how that happens for some of our groups. But I think this happens in a lot of different pedagogical approaches. And so I want you to think about where this might happen for you. For me, I remember going to school and my very first kindergarten day, being brought into the gymnasium and being told to sit Indian style. I didn't, what? I was so confused. I didn't know that was Indian style, right? And later they came up with crisscross applesauce, like that makes any more sense. My point is, I mean, I even remember watching Indian in the Cupboard and even learning to count. I remember both me and an elder and his stories of those days. There was 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. I mean, I remember this racist crap being introduced as pedagogy and as appropriate pedagogy. And I don't know that we've gone that far from there, because till we understand the purpose of education as not norming and conforming me into your standard of who you want me to be, but rather allowing me to transform the world by allowing me to be who I am and committed for each and every student, we're going to continue to dictate who these children are. But when we create spaces for their own racial and ethnic identity to contribute to the learning, it transforms pedagogy completely, i.e. the E in CLEAR. Hey, thanks for watching the podcast. Those of you interested and have heard, we are offering free CU for new subscribers. So if you're a new subscriber and would benefit from that, please check this out as part of our CLEAR renewal work. There's a whole lot more to talk about down that path, and you can learn more by contacting Nan Ureko, because we have a whole suite of opportunities to continue to support you. I appreciate you. Thanks again. Wadu. Until we meet again.
Hi there, welcome to the Producer's Corner. I'm Jason. In this episode, we really start the process of listening to Tua and Billy Chan. They both have some really good insight. And I'm excited for you to watch all 6. I think they'll be great. The thing that Rev said in the deeper dive, I connected with immediately. I mean, I was raised in a small town, and people don't know what they don't know. And that's where education steps in. I mean, I was taught those things in school. So, Indian style. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. I knew that too. But there are all these tiny little microaggressions. Things we do that we don't even know we're doing. And part of this culturally validating pedagogy is bringing forward that which we don't know. But anyway, this is the Producer's Corner. I'm going to throw links around my head for Rev's email, my email, our website link. And if you need any of that, you want to talk to us, you want to just have some questions answered, we're happy to help. See you for another 5 episodes of Billy Chan. Get revved
Man, I am all revved up. I know I've been talking a lot about the arts, but that's because it's part of who I am. But I got a couple of books that just recently come at me again. And Billy Annette's books, she's got several out. She's a poet here from northern Minnesota, an indigenous woman. Billy, your work inspires me deeply. It touches my soul. Thank you so very much. I am all revved up because of you.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Intercultural Innovations Incorporated. Director and producer is Dr. Rev Hillstrom. Producer and editor is Jason Eldridge, with graphics by Barbie Hillstrom and Nan Ureko. Original music by Ben Lockett, Jason Eldridge, and Dr. Rev Hillstrom. Intercultural Innovations Incorporated 2026. For any information, bright spots, or links from this episode, email jason.impacti3@gmail.com.